Hey everybody, how are y'all? And mom and dad, how are you? Love you. My name is Krishna, and today I'm going to talk. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my game, The Brass Ring. Now this game is about emotion. It's about the feels. It's about love, faith, and all of the things that make us human. With this game, I want to speak directly to the player's heart. I want to talk to their emotions. With that, let's start with the setting. This game is set in the dystopian future when the world lays in ruins. Extremists have obtained control over the main citadel and they are ruling over it with an iron fist. Only the ones who agree with that rule and the ones who can tolerate that live inside the citadel. Anybody who disagrees is thrown out or has to leave, otherwise they'll be killed. Now, there are different clans of extremists, and there are ones that roam outside the citadel, where it's like the Wild West. There's no rule, there's no law. There's open crimes, there's pillage. So the people who want to survive live underground in a set of tunnels. They live away from these extremists. They sort of live a normal life there, as normal as it can be when you're running away from people. So, some parts of the city are well developed, like inside the citadel, but outside it lays in ruins. So there's a theme of contrast going on over here. I want you to imagine a city that was once magnificent being completely torn down. But along with this, imagine fire, pillage, destruction, weapons, and what was once a great city now has nothing but sand, dust, and dirt lying everywhere. This is what I imagine the future to be like. The field's going to be extremely somber. It's going to be a really serious setting. It's going to be very dark. And like I said before, there's going to be a theme of contrast. There's going to be people who are living inside, who live a lavish and barbaric lifestyle, which is sort of ironic that now that you think about it. And people who live outside need to live an invisible life. Otherwise, they'll be hunted down and killed. This is supposed to evoke thought about how we as human beings are living today, how law and order is going out of control, and how that might actually transpire to the future. But using the same theme of contrast, we want to show that even in times like these, even when the world is in chaos and pathos, there's still humanity. There's still love, friendship, loyalty, and heart. And this is the deepest of what makes us human. The main plot is going to be the story about a relationship. It's going to be between a mom and her son, who are really poor. And the mother has been sick for a while, and her health is deteriorating day by day. Since they're in hiding, the son needs to go into the main citadel to get her medical supplies from time to time. And he needs to escape from these outlaws, from these extremists on the way. He needs to bypass them. Now, it's a story that's built around being delicate, intricate, and intimate. I feel like it appeals to most populations because everybody here has someone that they love, someone that they care for, someone that they want to be there for. And everybody can relate to this emotion. To see someone in pain and want to do something about it. Now, the ending of the game is going to be a twist. He's going to end up getting the money that he needs to put her in hospital, but she's going to end up passing away. I want to convey the emotion of trying to be there for somebody, trying to make it, but eventually when you get the thing that matters the most to you, which in this case is money, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Well, if you think about it, that's what life is. You're chasing something all the time, and then when you finally get that something, it doesn't really mean anything anymore, right? It's sort of pointless. So that's one of the feelings that I wanted to convey about not being able to save the person that you want to save. Now the gameplay core, it's going to be a third-person tactical stealth experience. I don't want this to be another shooter. We have to remember who the protagonist is over here. It's a non-violent person, like a normal, regular human being who doesn't like war, someone who doesn't like violence or fights. So the goal here is to try to bypass the enemies that he comes across in the most creative way possible. Now, it's obviously going to be about navigating an open world as well. Sneak and dodge around enemies. Also, choice is going to be an important mechanic. Now, the choices that you make throughout the game are going to affect the way the game plays out. Much like the game Life is Strange, the choices that you make will affect the cutscenes that you see and the emotions that you experience. Now, this might not change the ending itself, but the feelings that you get based on the choice are going to affect you differently. Now, secondary mechanics are going to be you can sneak up to an enemy and probably like chloroform him or like have a morphine syringe in him, but these are going to be extremely limited because that is not the main mechanic of the game. This is only for those times when the player maybe didn't plan properly or he's running low on other resources. Now, like I mentioned, it's going to be story heavy, so there's going to be a lot of cutscene. I have about 15 pages of script right now, so that transpires to about 15 minutes of cutscene. So planning to compress it down to 10 minutes of cutscene and 10 minutes of gameplay, or maybe 15 minutes of gameplay. So far, that's the goal. Like I said, you can walk around, build relationships with people in the open world, and you can interact with them, triggering new cutscenes and exploring parts of the story that you may not have explored. Now, imagine the dystopian setting of The Last of Us. I know the new trailer was released a couple days back. Amazing, isn't it? But instead of the tone being green and decay, I want you to imagine the visualization I showed you earlier. And also, dust and wind, something along the lines of Children of Men. Something like this. Now, the enemies are the extremist outlaws. They're hunting you down. And they're going to be guarding their camps and patrol routes. And you have to sneak by them. We'll talk about the mechanics. Right. So, remember this game is set in the future. So this opens up a lot of possibilities for you to have really creative tools and techniques. You can have conventional items as well. You can have hammers and tools that you can throw, not at the enemy because that's all this game's about, to distract him or maybe to trigger something else in the level. Other techniques will become apparent once we start designing the environment. But a couple more things to think about is maybe you can have a really powerful magnet that you can place in the route of the enemy, and he's walking by and his foot gets stuck in it, and then he kneels down to see, oh my god, what's going on, and then the player sneaks by him. Or maybe you can have a reflective net that can reflect only from one direction that you place in his path. So it reflects only from the other side, so you can't see it from this side, and he walks into it and is trapped, so you sneak by him. Another mechanic could be exploring the environment, collecting different items, and placing them on top of each other to climb on top of a roof and then pass by. So there's a lot of opportunities over here for level design and game design in terms of bypass mechanics. Now, again, it's not just another hack and slash or shooter. It's a puzzle stealth game. Let's talk about progression. The player gets stronger throughout the game, and by that I don't mean that. I mean he is better able to place these obstacles, better able to find them. Maybe he gets stronger magnets that'll keep the enemy stuck to the ground for a longer period of time. A sense of progression is very important, right? And one thing I want to point out is that he's a very morally driven individual. Now, he doesn't change. He stays true to himself. This is something that I feel we need to call out, because in most games, like you see, like I love The Last of Us, it's one of my favorite games, but if you look at Joel is a normal guy. He's not a killer, but he turns into one because after being exposed to that kind of environment for such a long time. Our hero does not. He's very morally driven. End of the game, 0 kills, but he still wins the game, right? That's my goal. 0 kills, but he still wins the game. Well, again, win is subjective because, he loses his mother, but love wins, right? Love wins, yeah. Right. Replayability, I believe, is an important factor for any game. And here, since the game is based heavily around making choices, you can play through the game, make different choices, watch different cutscenes play out, feel different emotions by the end of the game. Second point is still it's a puzzle-based game, so there's no way of killing the same enemy twice. You can always find a different way to kill him. You can always, I'm really sorry, not kill, to bypass him, bypass the enemy, and there's always a different way of sneaking by him, so it's going to be a different experience every time. Now, this game is aimed at players who really appreciate living stories. They love environment, music, art, the whole immersive experience. That's what this game is aimed at. So basically a fictional RPG player, and they care about production value, and this is all about that. Now, this is for PC for now. And yeah, thanks to these people and obviously the faculty, they're amazing. So any questions, feel free to contact me. Send me an email or something. All right, so that's the game. Thanks, everybody.